What if financial freedom is a story you are sold by the people who profit when you borrow? What if the finish line keeps moving because the track itself is on a conveyor belt? You save more, invest smarter, hustle harder. Yet your rent climbs, your groceries creep up, and your dollars quietly shrink. Here's the mystery. If technology makes things cheaper, why does your life keep getting more expensive? Who keeps raising the stakes, and why do the rules change right when you start winning? The answer hides in plain sight. It's not simply your budget, your discipline, or your mindset. It's the design of the money system itself. The way money is created, who gets it first, and how the game is played when debts must grow forever or the system cracks. To see it, we go back to the beginning of modern money. In 1913, the United States created a central bank to stabilize panics and smooth the economy. They called it the Federal Reserve. It was supposed to be the referee. But referees also set the rules, and rules decide winners. Through wars and crises, gold acted as a leash on money. Governments could spend, but not infinitely. In the 1930s, the Great Depression shattered trust. The U.S. devalued the dollar against gold and restricted private gold ownership. A signal was sent: when push comes to shove, the rules will bend. After World War II, the world rebuilt under a grand promise. Nations pegged to the dollar pegged to gold at $35 an ounce. That was the Bretton Woods system. It delivered stability, trade, and a booming middle class. For a while, it worked, but promises pile up. In the 1960s, the bill came due. The U.S. spent big on war and social programs. Foreign governments asked, "Can we please swap these dollars for gold?" Gold left American vaults. Confidence slipped. In 1971, President Nixon ended the convertibility of dollars to gold. Temporarily, he said. Temporary became forever. That's the turn no one forgets. From that moment, money wasn't anchored to gold, it was anchored to debt. Banks could create new dollars every time they issued a loan. Your mortgage made new money. Your car loan made new money. Government deficits made new money. But here's the catch that explains the treadmill. Loans come with interest. If all money is born as debt, then there is always more owed than exists. To avoid default waves, the supply must keep growing. And to keep it growing, someone must keep borrowing. The 1970s paid the price first. Inflation ripped through the economy. Families felt it in gas lines and grocery aisles. Who stopped it? Paul Volcker, the Fed chair, slammed interest rates above 15%. Painful recession, bankruptcies, unemployment. But inflation fell, and a new era began. Now that money could expand freely, interest rates didn't need to be sky-high forever. They could drift down. And as rates fell through the 1980s and 1990s, credit became a drug. Credit cards everywhere, home equity lines. Securitization turned your mortgage into a bond sold worldwide. Regulations loosened. Wall Street innovated. It felt like prosperity, but prosperity built on leverage always smiles. Until it doesn't. The dot-com bubble burst in 2000. To cushion the fall, rates were cut. Cheap money chased housing. No-doc loans, adjustable rates. Financial alchemy packaged risky loans into safe assets. In 2008, it snapped. Banks teetered, trusts vanished, the system froze. To stop a depression, the Fed conjured new money on a scale never seen. Bailouts, emergency programs, quantitative easing, interest rates near zero. The crisis ended, but something changed that day. The referee didn't just set rules, it joined the game. The 2010s felt calm on the surface. CPI inflation looked tame, but it was hiding in plain sight. Stocks soared, home prices surged, healthcare and education costs exploded, student debt crossed $1 trillion. Wages struggled to keep up with the things that mattered most. Asset owners got richer, savers were punished, risk was rewarded. Then came 2020. A pandemic shut the world. Governments sent checks. Central banks printed at lightning speed. The money supply spiked at rates not seen in modern history. Demand snapped back as supply chains limped, and the quiet inflation became a roar. By 2021 and 2022, inflation hit the highest levels in for decades. Food up, rent up, energy up, real wages fell. Then, to catch the runaway train, rates were hiked at the fastest pace since the 1980s. Suddenly, the medicine looked like poison. Long-term bonds cratered. Banks that loaded up at low yields cracked under the pressure. You remember the headlines. Trust trembled again. And the debt, it didn't shrink. Government debt crossed into tens of trillions. Interest costs alone neared $1 trillion a year. Household credit card balances passed $1 trillion as rates climbed above 20% for many borrowers. Delinquencies rose. Millions lived paycheck to paycheck even with unemployment low. The treadmill sped up. Here's the missing truth that ties it together. Our system needs new debt to pay yesterday's debt. Each crisis is met with more borrowing, more intervention, more claims on the future. And when the claims get too heavy, inflation lightens the load. Not by paying debts off, by quietly shrinking the value of what's owed. That's the stealth tax on savers. That's why financial freedom feels like chasing a vanishing horizon. Who gains when money is born through loans? Those closest to the spigot? Governments that can run deficits. Large institutions that borrow cheaply and buy real assets. Asset holders who see their stocks and homes rise faster than consumer prices. Who loses? Wage earners paid in dollars that buy less each year. Savers who sit in cash. Young families trying to buy their first home. Look at the pattern. From the 1970s to today, non-financial debt in the U.S. roughly doubled relative to the economy. Every cycle adds more. Each rescue is larger than the last. In 2008, the Fed's balance sheet surged. In 2020, it swelled to nearly $9 trillion. We were told it was temporary. But temporary becomes habit when the alternative is collapse. The message to the public stays the same. Keep consuming, keep borrowing, chase points, chase yield. Learn a side hustle to outrun the cost of living. And maybe, if you play perfectly, you'll escape. But can you outrun a treadmill designed to speed up? Let's bring this down to earth. You save $10,000. Inflation at 8% quietly turns it into $9,200 in real purchasing power by next year. Your rent goes up. Your insurance goes up. Your groceries go up. Your emergency fund buys less emergency. Meanwhile, your friend who bought a home with a fixed-rate mortgage sees the real burden of their debt shrink over time, even as the home's price goes up. Same economy, different outcomes, same system, different side of the table. Some say, just invest in the market. And yes, owning productive assets has historically beaten inflation over long stretches. But what happens when the rescues that lift markets also inflate the things you need to live? What happens when your cost of freedom rises faster than your account balance? That's the paradox. The fixes used to stabilize the system often make the next wave bigger. Look around today for the echoes. Bank failures after rapid rate hikes. Record government deficits even in good times. Housing affordability near multi-decade lows. Credit card interest at punishing levels. Student debt that never seems to shrink. And proposals for more control. Debt forgiveness here. Macroprudential tools there. Talk of central bank digital currencies to improve transmission of policy. Each tool promises stability. Each tool increases the system's grip. So, where does this go if nothing changes? History suggests three paths. Grow out of it faster than debts rise. Inflate the debt away, or default, openly or quietly. Politically, inflation is the path of least resistance. The numbers don't vote, you do. But inflation is a vote you cast without a ballot. What can you actually do in a world where the rules drift under your feet? 3 simple, hard truths you can act on now. Measure wealth and purchasing power and time, not just dollars. Track your real expenses. Prioritize assets that produce cash flow or output, not just paper gains. Hold cash for safety, but not more than your near-term needs when inflation runs hot. Use it intentionally, not emotionally. If you must borrow, favor fixed rates on assets that hold value. Avoid floating rate consumer traps that compound against you. Lower your fixed burn rate. Build an emergency buffer measured in months of living, not in credit limit. Build anti-fragility through skills and diversification. Develop income streams you control. Invest in learning that raises your pricing power. Diversify across asset classes and time horizons so you're not forced to sell at the worst moment. Freedom isn't a number. It's the ability to say no. Here's the warning. If the pattern holds, the next solution will promise safety while tightening the loop. More monitoring, more targeted stimulus, more friction for savers and small players, less room to opt out. Remember, the system will always protect itself first. And here's the open question to carry with you. What happens when a society built on ever-expanding claims finally meets hard limits? Do we choose discipline before we're forced into it? Or do we wait for another crisis to make the choice for us? If this raised your curiosity, don't let it fade. Share this with someone you care about. Tell me in the comments what freedom means to you in real terms, not just dollars. Subscribe for deeper dives into the mechanics behind the headlines. We'll keep pulling the thread together, one cause and effect at a time, because the illusion only holds if we stop asking why.